Fine. Today we are starting a chapter that is nutrition. Nutrition is the very first chapter of class 10th. Now, first of all, let's discuss the meaning of this word nutrition is. What is nutrition? It is the process of obtaining and utilization of nutrients to perform all metabolic activities. Fine. That means this is the process by which we are obtaining the nutrients and utilizing the nutrients to carry out all the metabolic functions. These metabolic function means it includes two type of activity, that is catabolism and anabolism. Okay. Now catabolism means it means to break down the things, and anabolism means to synthesize the things. It means in the living organism either the process carried out including the synthesis process or the processes are carrying out including the breakdown processes. For example, digestion is the catabolism processes, photosynthesis is anabolism processes. Fine. So all types of metabolic activity do require nutrients. So the process of obtaining those nutrients and utilizing them is known as nutrition. Now what are the nutrient is? We have discussed the nutrition. Now what are nutrient? Nutrients are the chemical substances. These are chemical substances, either organic or inorganic, that utilized by any organism to perform necessary functions. Okay. Now what are these nutrients is? These categorized into two types, organic and inorganic compound. Fine. Now what are organic compound? Organic includes your carbohydrates, proteins, lipids. These we have discussed in earlier also, in previous classes also, like carbohydrates are the energy giving food, proteins are the body building food, lipids are the again the energy giving food. Fine. So these are the organic compound or organic nutrient, while the inorganic nutrient includes all types of minerals, ions, salts. These are inorganic nutrients. Fine. Now these nutrients are utilized by different type of living organism in different manner. Actually on earth or in our nature, in our environment, there are so many types of organism, there are so many various types of organism which obtain these nutrients on a different basis, or they obtain these nutrients or utilize their the nutrients in different manner. So now we will going to discuss that how different type of living organism are obtaining and utilizing their nutrient, or we can say how they are performing their mode of nutrition. Before this, first we will then want to discuss why the nutrients are required actually. What are the importance of nutrients? That importance of nutrients are actually compelling all the living organism to utilize them in a different manner. So what are the importance? Firstly, to carry out metabolic functions, either catabolism or anabolism. Second, these nutrients are the source of energy. These are the source of energy for all types of living organism. Thirdly, these are helpful for their growth and development. So basic importance of nutrients are this: to perform all types of metabolic activity, and also they are source of energy, as well as they are responsible for the growth and development of any living organism. Fine. Now, to fulfill all these importance, here all the function, living organism perform the nutrition on different basis. So now we will discuss the mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition are actually broadly categorized into two main types. One is autotrophic, the other one is heterotrophic. Auto means self and trophic means your nutrition process. That means in this type of mode, organism are self nutrition. That means they are preparing their own food. They can prepare their own food on their own basis. That is why this type of nutrition is known as autotrophic mode of nutrition. That means they don't need to depend on others for their nutrition. They can prepare their own food easily. This type of nutrition is again of two types. That is photoautotrophic. This has been categorized on the basis of source of energy. That means from where they are utilizing the energy to perform such autotrophic mode of nutrition. So one is photoautotrophic and the other is chemoautotrophic. Now photo means light. This is a type of autotrophic mode of nutrition where the light is needed as a source of energy. So here light means what? That is sunlight. So here the sunlight is a source of energy which is used by those type of living organism to perform to prepare their own food. So this type of nutrition actually includes the process of photosynthesis, and that is done by plants. Plants are the whole source of energy or whole source of food for other different organisms. So we can that's why say that plants are actually the producers, because they are producing food, they are preparing food for themselves as well as for other consumers. So this includes photosynthesis, and the mode of nutrition is known as photoautotrophic. Another is chemoautotrophic. Now what is chemoautotrophic? It is again the mode of nutrition in which an organism are able to prepare their own food, but here the source of energy is chemical energy rather than sunlight. Now from where this chemical energy is obtaining? There are certain organisms present in the nature, like for example in soil we have different bacteria. For example, purple sulfur bacteria, nitrifying bacteria. These are certain examples which carries this type of nutrition, that is chemoautotrophic. Now what they do is they are utilizing certain inorganic compound present in the soil. They are utilizing certain inorganic compounds present in the soil and break them down, and they get break. By breaking them, they are releasing certain type of energy. Due to breakdown of the inorganic compound, some kind of energy released, and that energy utilized by these mode of organism. Fine. So this chemical energy utilized by these type of bacteria to prepare their own food. Although this type of nutrition is very rare in the nature, because these type of bacteria are very few in number in the soil. So but still there is a presence of this type of chemoautotrophic mode of nutrition in which the source of energy is chemical compound rather than solar energy. So this is all about the autotrophic mode of nutrition in which the organism are preparing their own food by their own. But what is heterotrophic now? Hetero means different. Here organism depends on other. For their nutrition. ओके यहाँ पे ऑर्गेनिज्म दूसरे पे डिपेंड कर रहे हैं न्यूट्रिशन के लिए. नाउ दिस हेटेरोट्रॉफिक मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन इंक्लूड ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ कंज्यूमर्स. दे इंक्लूड ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ consumers which depend directly or indirectly on plants especially. Yeah, they are depending on any other organism, but they are not preparing their own food. So that includes heterotrophic. Now we can also classify the heterotrophic mode of nutrition on basis of different criteria. So that criteria, first criteria we will discuss about the source, that means the food which they are eating. This heterotrophic nutrition is now classifying on basis of nature of food. It means what food they are eating. On that basis, there are so many types of heterotrophic organism, like herbivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous, sanguivorous, detrivorous, frugivorous, as well as one more is there, insectivorous. Now what are these different types of organism which are eating different type of food is herbivorous, means herbal. Herb for herbal, that means they are eating green plants. These are organisms feed on grass, so they are herbivorous. It includes different example like cow, goat, elephant, deer, and so on. So many examples are there. Second, carnivorous. Carnivorous means the organism which actually that hunt and then eat the other animal. Here the carnivores are the animal which actually what they are doing, they are killing the other animal and then they are having they are eating them. So this is a type of nutrition that is carnivorous. So it includes tiger, lion, and also so many others. Fine. Third is omnivorous. Omnivorous means the organism which can eat both. That can eat both grass and flesh. Okay, so they are basically herbivorous as well as they are carnivorous also. So they are eating both type of food, grass as well as flesh. It includes we human beings, bear, rat. Nowadays we also include dog, cockroaches, and so many. That is omnivorous. The fourth one is sanguivorous. Sanguivorous are the blood sucking animals. These are blood sucking animals. Fine. That means these are the animals that feed on blood. They directly feed on blood. So that is why called as sanguivorous. It includes leech, lice, ticks, mites. Okay? So these basically lives on another organism and they feed on blood of that animal. So that is sanguivorous. Detrivorous. Detrivorous include the animal who feed on detritus. They are detritus feeding. Now what is detritus? Detritus is actually the waste form. Waste form of plants and animals. That is detritus. So here comes the example, mainly earthworm. Detrivorous animals, actually they are feeding on detritus. They are feeding on waste forms present in nature. But they don't decompose them, or they can't degrade them completely into CO2 and water. That means they are not decomposer, but they are feeding detritus, they are feeding the waste form. So we can say they are also considered as scavenger because they are cleaning all the waste form of nature or earth. Insectivorous are the animal or also including plants that can feed on insects. These organisms that feed on insects. It includes the example of plants as well as an example of animals. In plants, we can say all types of insectivorous plant, that is pitcher plant, Venus flytrap. These type of plants feed on insects. Why? Because they are surviving, yet they are living in the such a soil which is deficient of certain type of nutrient like nitrogen. So that is why such insectivorous plant, they accomplish or they overcome their nutrient deficiency by feeding on insects. So that includes insectivorous plant. While animal, the insect feeding animals are like lizard. That lizard also feed on insects. We can also take frog. We can also take an example of sparrow. So these are certain animals which feed on insects. Now what is frugivorous? Frugivorous are fruit eating animals. That means their favorite food is fruit. It includes monkey, parrot. Fine. So these are the famous example who basically likes to eat fruit. That is monkey and parrot. Fine. So this is all about the mode of heterotrophic nutrition on the basis of their nature of food, that what they are eating. Now we will going to discuss the type of heterotrophic nutrition on the basis of their mechanism, ki how they are obtaining those nutrients, yeah, what mechanism they are performing to utilize the nutrient to obtain energy out of it. Now the heterotrophic nutrition on basis of their mechanism. It is again of three types. First one is Holozoic, Septotropic, and Parasitic. Now what are Holozoic, what is Septotropic, what is Parasitic is? Holozoic means here the organism is engulfing the food completely. They are taking food inside and then they are digesting them to release energy out of it. So that includes Holozoic mode of nutrition, which we will going to discuss in detail. Septotropic means, sepro means rotten, जिसे हम कहते हैं सड़ा हुआ. ठीक है, तो सेप्टोट्रॉफिक मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन इंक्लूड द प्रोसेस इन विच ऑर्गेनिज्म actually feeding on the rotten or dead and decayed forms of plant and animal. Fine. Here what they are doing, these organisms are releasing out the digestive enzyme and then they are decomposing or degrading those dead remains or decayed forms of plant and animal to release energy out of it. So that includes septotropic. Third is parasitic. Parasitic means here the organism are living on another animal. That means they are dependent completely on other animal's body. They need host. They can't survive independently. That is why they have to survive in the body of any other animal. So that includes the parasitic mode of nutrition. So we will going to discuss them in detail. Now first is Holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic mode of nutrition, we will going to explain it by taking an example of amoeba. Amoeba is actually a unicellular eukaryote. Since we all plants and animals, we human, animals and plants are also eukaryote, but we are multicellular. But here the amoeba we are taking an example, it is unicellular. But we can understand this step of nutrition by taking this example. Now what amoeba is doing to obtain nutrient? So what it is doing? It is performing the mode of nutrition in different steps. First, ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and then egestion. So these are majorly 5 steps in which the nutrition performed by amoeba. Now how it is doing? Amoeba is the organism which do not have a definite shape. If there is a particular food present just near its cell, so what amoeba is doing? It perform its pseudopodium movement to ingest this food. This process is known as ingestion, in which amoeba is forming its pseudopodia. Pseudopodia means the false feet. Although it doesn't have the natural or original or real feet, but the cell membrane of amoeba forms the feet-like structure that is known as pseudopodia to capture or to engulf the food present near it or near its cell membrane. So here it is doing the same process, that is ingestion, how it is forming the pseudopodia and how it is ingesting the food inside its cytoplasm. So this step includes the ingestion of food. This food comes inside a vacuole that is known as food vacuole. This food vacuole forms inside the amoeba. Now this food vacuole means it is a type of lysosome only, where the hydrolytic enzymes or digestive enzyme will going to digest this food inside the vacuole only. So the next step will be then digestion. Now here the food has been digested by the action of digestive enzymes. So inside food vacuole, digestion occurs by digestive enzymes. So here the food has been digested and inside the food vacuole now the digested nutrient is present. Now what happened? After digestion, all the nutrient which are digested nutrient present in the food vacuole, it will release into the cytoplasm. All these nutrients will released into the cytoplasm. So this step will be known as now absorption. Why? Because now the nutrient which has been digested, the food which has been digested, it need to be absorbed by the different cytoplasmic part. In the same way, in multicellular animal, these digested nutrient will go into the blood. But here since it is a single cell, so the digested nutrient will release into the cytoplasm where it will be utilized. So this is absorption is only the transfer of digested nutrient into the cytoplasm, or you can say into the cell, or you can say into the tissue. Fine. In multicellular animal, this takes place through blood. Later on, these digested nutrient which are released into the cytoplasm, now it will get utilized. So all the nutrient has been now utilized by the cytoplasm. But inside the food vacuole, now what is left? The undigested matter. This undigested form, which is left behind in the food vacuole. Now it's very important to release them out. So The last step will going to happen, that is the food vacuole go near the membrane and it will release all the undigested matter out of the cell, and this process is known as digestion. So this is the complete mode of nutrition, that is the holozoic form of nutrition which is occurring through the by amoeba. In the same manner, the multicellular animal like we human being, like different other animal also perform the holozoic mode of nutrition. What is happening? Only the difference is here we have taken the single cell, but in multicellular animal the absorption process takes place by the blood and through blood all the digested nutrient goes into different cells or different tissue where it has been utilized, and all the digestion process takes place through fecal matter, in the form of fecal matter through anal pore. So this is the holozoic mode of nutrition. Now the next is saprotrophic. Saprotrophic mode of nutrition means here organisms feed on rotten material. Now what is this rotten material is? This is decayed forms of plants and animals. So what they are doing is, here the organism include bacteria, fungi, which are also known as decomposers. So in saprotrophic mode of nutrition, we are taking an organism as decomposers because what they are doing, they are feeding on the dead and decayed forms of plants and animal, and they are degrading them, or you can say they are directly completely digesting them, or they are breaking them down completely into CO2 and water. Now what is happening here? These organism, bacteria or fungi, since they are single celled organism, like bacteria is also a single cell, and fungi, we are taking an example of yeast over here, so that is also single cell. Now here they are releasing certain enzymes outside the cell, and this enzyme directly act upon on those decayed forms of plant and animal. And that decayed form is what? They are organic compound only, but they are complex organic form. So they have to degrade or decompose completely into CO2 and water. So here what we are doing, we are removing all the complex organic form from the nature and we are converting them into a very simpler form, that is CO2 and water. So this type of mode of nutrition is saprotrophic, by which we are actually decomposing all the dead forms of plant and animal, all the complex organic compound into CO2 and water. So this is saprotroph, which include the decomposer, that is bacteria and fungi, because here what is the difference with the holozoic mode of nutrition is, here they are releasing the digestive enzyme outside the cell and then they are degrading or breaking them down completely into simpler form. But in holozoic, what was happening there the digestive enzyme present inside the cell only, and the digestion is taking place inside the cell, and the food is first ingestion and then it is digestion. So this is the difference between the saprotrophic and holozoic. Now the third type of nutrition is parasitic. Now parasitic mode of nutrition, here it includes parasite and host. So this type of mode of nutrition include two combinations, that is parasite and host body. Parasite are the organism that cannot survive independently. These are the organisms which cannot survive independently because they do require any other host body to complete their life cycle. So that is why they depend on host. So host is such an organism in which the parasite survive, or you can say the parasite are absorbing all types of nutrients of the host body, and even they are causing harm to the host body as well. So this is the parasitic mode of nutrition. In parasite, which type of organism we consider as a parasite? Actually, parasite are the organism which cannot survive independently, as well as these organisms do not have their own digestive system. That is why they are directly absorbing all the digested nutrient of the host body. Fine. For example, here we are taking an example of malarial parasite. That is Plasmodium. And its host body is female Anopheles, mosquito, and human body. It has two hosts. The half of its life cycle complete in female Anopheles and the other half complete in human body. So this malarial parasite Plasmodium, actually it cannot survive independently. Its life cycle will complete only by the two hosts, that is female Anopheles and the human body. But by this malarial parasite, obviously the human is suffering from malarial disease. So no doubt the parasitic mode of nutrition, in this mode of nutrition the host body will always get harm. The another example, liver fluke. Human liver fluke is a worm which again affect the human. So here the host is human and human liver fluke is a parasite. Third is, you can say the E. coli present in human intestine. That is also parasite. But if their number increases in intestine, then it will be harmful for the human intestine. Otherwise, it doesn't cause any harm if the number or count increases. So there are also certain other example of parasite. There are so many disease causing microorganism which affects the human body are considered as a parasite and their host body is human being. So this is all types of nutrition, the mode of nutrition which we have ended. Thank you.